come you can't pay me?
The races. Oh, low down hound.
Hound? What kind of races do you play?
Horse races.
What track you play at?
I play over here.
That track's crooked. Why don't you play over here around?
That's where I lost my money.
Yeah. How much did you lose?
I lost
You
about...
didn't have that much. No, all you had was...
I had more than that.
Yeah.
I bet on a horse, and that rascal didn't come in.
Was he that far behind?
Yeah.
Who was the jockey riding him?
A jockey by the name...
He can't ride.
You just don't know what I can do. You just don't know what I can do. You just don't know what I can do.
The Masonic Black Mirror of Nipsey Hussle. Gentrification definition. Noun. The restoration and upgrading of deteriorated urban property by middle-class or affluent people, often resulting in displacement of lower-income people. The process of renewal and rebuilding accompanying the influx of middle-class or affluent people into deteriorating areas that often displaces earlier, usually poorer residents. The restoration of run-down urban areas by the middle class, resulting in the displacement of low-income residents. From Wikipedia. According to police sources, on March 31, 2019, Hussle was shot multiple times in the parking lot of his store, Marathon Clothing, in South Los Angeles at about 3:25 p.m. Hussle was hit 5 times in the torso and once in the head. 2 others were wounded in the shooting. All 3 victims were transported to a hospital where Hussle was pronounced dead at 3:55 p.m. He was 33 years old. Upon hearing the news, numerous celebrities offered their condolences on social media. Police have identified 29-year-old Eric Holder as a suspect. Investigators believe Holder was known to the rapper and that the shooting was possibly motivated by a personal matter. On April 29th, Holder was apprehended by members of the Los Angeles Police Department. In the days leading up to his death, Hussle had reached out to officials from the LAPD about having a meeting with him and Rock Nation about what they could do to help prevent gang violence in South Los Angeles. The meeting had been scheduled to take place on Monday, April 1st, 2019, but was scuttled due to Hussle's untimely death Sunday, the day before. Nipsey Hussle, whose real name is Ermias Joseph Oshadon, was shot on March 31, 2019 at 3:55 on 3420 Slauson, near Slauson and Crenshaw. He was 33 years old. Born Ermias Joseph Oshadon, Ermias means God will rise, Joseph means may Jehovah give increase, and Oshadon's meaning is unknown. Nipsey's given name means God will rise and increase. Nipsey as a slang refers to homeboy or homie. Hussle means to hustle. Hence, Nipsey's professional name means homeboy hustler. Urban slang for Nipsey means clown, fool, poser, or buster. Who was Nipsey Russell? Nipsey Russell was a showman, high-ranking captain of the U.S. Army, infamous for his disarming grin. He became known alongside the likes of bug-eyed comedian Mantan Moreland. Behind the veil of the comedian showman act, Nipsey rode the goat. If you're not sure what that means, you may need to watch my Boule video. He was a 33rd degree Masonic Master Mason and Arabian Shriner. For a quick intro to the Boule, let me tell you in the words of Mbwebe Ishangi, who literally wrote the book on the Boule, and I quote, "Many of our black organizations today were founded by the actual individuals responsible for the intergenerational mental, spiritual, and socioeconomic conditions we've endured that has had a polarizing effect on how we see ourselves in the world. What's alarming is black individuals and organizations had to be created in order for the practice to be sustained." End quote. A hustler is a creature of the street whose morals and human dignity are always for sale to the highest bidder. It has been made clear over the years what one must do to be a true hustler. The true hustler has to be willing to do anything to make a dime, even if it involves selling poison to the people he loves. As Prince Ray, aka Rayford Bullock, puts it, and I quote, "If anyone offered a nickel to a hustler to get at his behind, it was the duty of the hustler to bend over and take the nickel," end quote. Hustle was, in my opinion, a showman and depraved parasite of the black community. As a true hustler and gangster crip, he sold his soul to the devil long before we ever heard of him. The act of the Nipsey Hussle picture book assassination to the global world was first made public by Harvey Leland of TMZ. The only footage Leland offered was from across the street from a different building altogether, while there is a standard business record and silent witness to the murder of March 31st directly on site. This assassination seems to be only one thing: a manufactured mass population black site drama, a Black Mirror operation. Per Urban Dictionary, to black mirror someone is to block, mute them across all possible contact and social channels. For example, Facebook, email, phone, text, blogs, etc., and delete any evidence of a prior relationship with either party. There should be no dramatic and theatrical act, as there should be no question as to the identity of the murderer. The scene of the Marathon Strip Mall was built in 2017 with 21st century construction and technology. The Marathon clothing store is itself a technological smart store with a 7 days a week, 24-hour marked surveillance system inside the store and outside the mall, covering every possible angle at a current technological scientific photographic level. This is not only standard updated protection, but the surveillance cameras are the mall's and store's legal silent witnesses. The entire drama and cast of characters can be seen on March 31st, 2019, and was fully recorded as if it were in a Hollywood film studio. It doesn't make any sense at all that Harvey Levin and TMZ are the self-authorized global mass peddlers and the only ones with the keys to Silent Witness Nipsey Hussle murder picture puzzle book. Meanwhile, they're showing footage from an off-site camera where nothing can be seen clearly, and on purpose, you can bet. Even the alleged killer, Eric Ronald Holder, knows the store business records speak for itself of just who killed Hussle. Eric Holder, Eric from Old Norse name Erikr, derived from the elements I, EI, ever and always, and Ricker, ruler. Eric the Red was a 10th century explorer and Viking. Holder, from the Anglo-Saxon name Halden, meaning to guard or to keep. Eric Holder means the forever ruler who guards. Before Holder was imprisoned, he pleaded that we depend on the store's silent witnesses to determine who the assassins and co-conspirators really were in this picture puzzle psyops book. Eric Holder's attorney is none other than Chris Darden, whose job is chiefly as a shadow government gatekeeper on the case, not to defend Holder, but to handle, shield, and safeguard sensitive information from public exposure and leaks. Back in the O.J. Simpson case, Darden belonged to a high-level covert team within the DA's office whose job it was to handle and safeguard and protect the company's sensitive information identities, covert plans, and operations from public exposure and leaks. Darden is a Masonic Pan-Hellenic boule who rides the Greek goat god Pan with Alpha Phi Alpha. The Eric Holder in jail that Darden is shielding from the public and pretends to defend is very possibly an Eric Holder doppelganger or clone. A clone can be a mind control look-alike patsy and does not have to be grown in a test tube. Eric Holder seems like a Manchurian candidate double created, managed, and controlled by the CIA MKUltra Monarch Occult Bureau. They say what you own always returns home, and it just so happens Eric Holder disappeared for 48 hours only to reappear in the parking lot of the Telecare Mental Care Services in Bellflower, California. He allegedly has mental problems. Telecare, like the telephone, is most likely used for manipulation from afar, and wouldn't you know, the CIA financed all the behind-the-scenes going-ons at Telecare. Its mind control technology is patented by the Monroe Institute of Applied Sciences, called HemiSync. HemiSync is a collection of binaural beats that send a candidate into different altered states of consciousness and even have out-of-body experiences that they call the gateway voyage. Telecare is an extension of HemiSync founded in 1965 by psychiatrist Dr. Art Gladman, who was a close personal friend of Bob Monroe and board member of the Monroe Institute. The Monroe Institute is closely connected with the Stanford Research Institute, where people like Christine Blasey Ford came out of, and also the Stargate Scangate remote viewing programs and development. Back in 1966, one Dr. Kleinman was traveling with one Dr. Elmer Green, giving biofeedback demonstrations countrywide and promoting New Age health. In 1974, Kleinman and Bob Monroe met at a Council Grove conference. Biofeedback was another mind control topic and tool of the CIA, hiding covertly as New Age therapy. Dr. Elmer Green was a physicist at the Naval Ordnance Test Station in China Lake, California. China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station was primarily an MKUltra Monarch programming center in the United States. Children were brought in from all over for mind control testing by neuroscientists and psychiatrists for secret operations and as test subjects. Inside the China Lake facility and compound, Dr. Elmer Green allegedly handled his victims eerily similarly to Dr. Joseph Mengele, SS Knight of the Black Sun, aka the Angel of Death, who is known for exceptionally cruel torture and experiments on children and twins. Mengele also reportedly secretly worked out of China Lake as part of Operation Paperclip. Dr. Green chose to adopt the Gladman military intelligence biofeedback mind control technology, which played a pivotal part in creating super mind-controlled shamanic 1st Earth Battalion Jedi soldiers for the U.S. military. A quick look at the movie Men Who Stare at Goats. More of this movie is true than you would believe. I'm going to give a short synopsis here. It is about a reporter at a local newspaper in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and his story started when he interviewed a local man who he heard on talk radio claiming to be part of a secret government initiative. He is told of the Psychic Spy Initiative and that there was a unit that had different methods of mind control for battle, and they were called Psi Warriors. The reporter grows aimless and decides that he will go to Iraq in order to get the perfect scoop. He meets a man known to be the strongest in the Psi Warrior unit he'd heard about. He is invited up to the stranger's room and is told about the New Earth Army. The New Earth Army was founded by a Vietnam veteran who was shot during a mission and had a vision of his attacker, which told him that love would be the winner of wars. The vet offered to research a different way to wage war, and the United States government funded his research. He experimented with numerous drugs, and somehow through that he created a manual, textbook, which established the New Earth Army as a branch of psychic warfare, which enlisted what they called Jedis. There's a lot more to this movie, and there are some very detailed synopses should you want to learn about it and read more. When the masses of people began to pay a little too much attention and asking too many questions about Eric Holder, Darden, and Telecare, in a seemingly unrelated but very related situation, controllers flipped the switch on MKUltra puppet Tiger Woods. On April 14, 2019, Tiger Woods won the Masters golf tournament after not having won a major golf tournament in 11 years. How do I come to this conclusion? Follow me here. Bob Monroe and Dr. Gladman of Telecare Institute are linked to United States Army Colonel John B. Alexander of Stanford Research Institute's Stargate, Scangates remote viewing projects. Colonel Alexander formerly ran Scangate for United States military intelligence and the CIA. Alexander and one Major General Albert Stubblebine helped organize the 1st Earth Battalion, or FEB, the United States Army's Jedi Warriors. Albert Stubblebine, former head of the U.S. Military Intelligence and Security Command, signed classified military intelligence contracts with the Monroe Institute. FEB developed out of Stanford Research Institute's Scangate program, the novel biological information transfer mechanisms, and the neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, Crest College Parallel Group. Major Stubblebine subsequently became president of the Monroe Institute. Colonel Alexander was a former Green Beret that served as a commander of the U.S. Special Forces Green Berets in Thailand. Tiger's mother, Katila, met Lieutenant Earl Woods in 1966 when he was stationed in Thailand, where Earl Woods was serving under the Colonel Alexander. The CIA Stargate and Scangate were subcontracted out to Colonel Alexander's side tech company for military application. Earl Woods was most likely secretly instructed in Colonel Alexander's military-grade neurolinguistic Stargate programming at McDonnell Douglas Aerospace from 74 to 75. Tiger Woods was born in 1975 and most likely has been under military-grade MK-Ultra NLP mind control since infancy. He will later be hated by golfers who knew he would be the Manchurian candidate of golf. Tiger Woods and his golf skills can be turned off and on like a light switch. And so coming back to Nipsey Hussle, it should be known his business associate is Herman Douglas, aka Cowboy, allegedly of the USC, CIA, U.S. Military Intelligence Network, and Nipsey's brother Samuel Oshadon, aka Black Sam, cannot be believed because neither of them are bringing up the store's silent witnesses, which, I repeat, are standard for this technological day and age. It also turns out that LA City Councilman Marquise Harris Dawson is the self-appointed leader of this Boule pack. He has formally submitted a proposal to rename the intersection of Crenshaw and Slauson Nipsey Hussle Square. I'll show you why this is important. In 1995, Dawson joined the Community Coalition alongside the then founder and current Congresswoman Karen Bass. Dawson comes from the CIA Military Intelligence Industrial Hand of Stanford University and plays a part of the Aspen Global Satanic Leadership Network. He was trained and tutored by Congresswoman Karen Bass, and it is no secret he worked closely with Hussle inside the Crips criminal street gang regarding the People's Business in the Crenshaw district. U.S. Congresswoman Bass was a fan and advocate of the Rollin' 60s Crips, and interestingly enough, was heavily involved and associated. Hussle, aka Osadon, would choose to sell his soul to Lucifer and then sell dope poison to the black community to buy his groceries and then some, while pretending to be someone who cared about his people and his community. Meanwhile, no one seems to notice Congresswoman Bass's fascist and open glorification as an LA criminal gang-banging, dope-dealing Crip in the halls of Congress, the highest public offices in the nation. On April 10, 2019, Bass ran a bill into the congressional meeting honoring the legacy of Ermias Joseph Oshadon, aka Nipsey Hussle, and his contributions to the South LA community. Congresswoman Bass rides the Greek goat god Pan for the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. The Deltas don't remotely try to deny their Masonic roots. From the Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated Grand Chapter Candidate Syllabus from 1978, page 30, and I quote, "The direct line of descent from Greek society to America is the Freemasons," end quote. Historians of American fraternities and sororities can trace most of the rituals, ceremonies, and rites to the Masons. Examination of Masonic rituals open to scholars suggested our founders were influenced by Masonic ritual symbolism and initiation experiences. Congresswoman Bass is high-level national and international Boule. It should be noted Karen Bass is heavily involved with the American Hellenic Council. The Fraternal Order of the Black Boule is equivalent to secret Masonic Skull and Bone Society, to whom they serve and annually must rededicate their devotion to. It is the Brotherhood of Death in the black community. It may be a surprise to some and is a fairly recent phenomena, but the Illuminati and secret satanic Masonic orders have been secretly initiating collegiate professional athletes and young black street gang members into the Brotherhood as soldier assassins, operatives, and agent provocateur. Hussle's bagman, multi-million-dollar secret gentrification marathon mall project was David Gross. He has his Boule roots running so deeply that I would have to offer an alternative video for him. I only mention him to show you that there were no people involved in this project that were not deeply embedded with the Boule. Nipsey Hussle's Marathon Mall was built in the style of a Masonic compass square and level designed to draw unknowing masses inside its antennas and occult magic. Nipsey Hussle's death has been certainly drawing people onto its temple floor by the thousands since he passed. Whether he was killed solely for this or for other reasons many in the truth community are speculating, well, that's something for now I must leave up to you. It is clear, however, that everyone was in on his death, perhaps even Hussle himself. As for the continued gentrification, now Crenshaw is going Gucci. Crenshaw Boulevard is one of the city's major thoroughfares of this area of LA. The area of the city is being quietly taken possession of by the rich, elite, and powerful. The population in Crenshaw is overwhelmingly black, and roughly 7 out of 10 residents live in rental units. Nearby Ladera Heights has been referred to as the Black Beverly Hills. It is a primarily black and wealthy neighborhood, but the median income in the most recent census for that area at large ranges from $20,000 to $40,000 per year. In 2015, the average income needed to afford the average market rate home was $105,000. This is double or even quadruple what some families make. Property in LA has jumped by more than 40% in only a few years, and rent right along with it. The major process fueling the speculation of this takeover is the construction of the Crenshaw Light Rail line, which will connect the area to both downtown and LAX. There is also the proposed development of the Crenshaw Mall by a Chicago-based company looking to add 1,000 market-rate luxury housing units and 400 hotel rooms, in addition to several other upscale projects planned along the Metro line that represents a further surge of investments and are a good indication of the gentrification to come. Slauson, which passes through Culver City, now sees portions of this road that have been refreshed with a new tree line barrier, new LED lighting and traffic lights, and restored revitalized Metro local bus benches. The project was officially completed in May of 2017. They won't be crippin' all the time in the Crenshaw district very much longer. In paying tribute to Nipsey Hussle, Jay-Z, aka J-Bo, rapped, "Identify your own hood before these people do it." That's the way the demonic satanic Illuminati cabals play the game, and J-Bo knows that very well. The Crenshaw New District colony had been clandestinely planned, developed, and implemented a long time ago. People like Jay-Z are here to continue to oppress the community by promoting the image to all others that blacks are less evolved and still more closely related to the supposed ape descendants than any other race. The level of depravity of these people is immeasurable. But then again, Jay-Z and his Boule brothers and sisters are certainly living up to their chosen, self-proclaimed title of hustler. There doesn't seem to be anything they won't do for a dime. And finally, Hussle and Snoop Dogg, messengers of Lucifer, rapped these words to the hip-hop generation, and I quote, "To let the darkness in," end quote. Nipsey knew what he was doing. His message has always been dark, and his movements are calculated to a Boule T. Maybe he thought he could reach higher than those who came before him and overstepped his bounds, or perhaps he was going to try to turn over a new leaf and begin to speak truth. But whatever the reason for his death, I believe it was most certainly planned and most definitely imminent. I am not convinced he knew he'd be sacrificed, but it seems highly possible that there are some in this community of rap that are marked for death. Conceivably, he knew it would end this way all along. What better way to confuse the masses than to make us think he was trying to expose truth? False flag to bring in masses of people to stand on his Masonic temple floor so as to worship him, the Buster Showman of the Black Boule.
I keep on running back to you.